In this episode, we start with the move from Security Plus 701 to SY0-801, and we keep it practical. If you are new to cybersecurity, this kind of version change can sound more intimidating than it really is. You may hear a new exam code and wonder whether everything you were about to study has suddenly changed. It has not. The basics still matter, and they will keep showing up throughout your studies. What has changed is the world those basics are being applied to. Security Plus is shifting more attention toward cloud services, identity, automation, operational security, and artificial intelligence, AI. So instead of thinking of this as starting over, think of it as learning security in a way that better matches the world you are actually entering. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is part of our companion study series. The first book is a detailed study guide that explains the exam and helps you prepare for it with confidence. The second is a Kindle-only ebook with 1,000 flashcards you can use on your mobile device or Kindle for quick review. You can find both at CyberAuthor.me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. The first thing I want you to understand is that Security Plus is still a beginner-level certification, but beginner level does not mean shallow. It means the exam is designed to meet you near the start of your cybersecurity path and help you build a broad foundation. You are not expected to be a senior engineer, a cloud architect, or an incident response expert. You are expected to understand the major ideas that come up again and again in security work. Those ideas include protecting data, controlling access, recognizing threats, reducing risk, responding to problems, and keeping systems available. SY0-801 does not throw those ideas away. It updates the setting. You are still learning the foundation, but now that foundation has to make sense in cloud, remote, automated, and identity-driven environments. One of the biggest changes is that security is no longer easy to picture as one company building with one network inside it. That older mental picture can still be useful for learning, but it is not enough anymore. Today, a person may sign in from home, use a company laptop, connect through a cloud identity service, open a browser-based application, store data in a cloud platform, and trigger an automated workflow without ever touching a traditional office network. That sounds complicated, but the lesson is simple. Security has to follow the user, the data, the device, and the application wherever they go. SY0-801 leans into that reality. It wants you to understand that security is not only about protecting a place. It is about protecting activity across many connected systems. Cloud security is a major part of that shift, and you do not need to be afraid of it. At the beginner level, cloud security starts with one basic idea. Some responsibilities belong to the cloud provider, and some responsibilities still belong to the customer. If a company uses cloud storage, the provider may protect the physical data center, the hardware, and many parts of the platform. But the customer may still decide who can access the data, whether the data is encrypted properly, how permissions are assigned, and whether activity is being logged. A cloud service can be strong, reliable, and professionally managed, while still being exposed by a bad setting or a careless access decision. That is why you should not think of cloud security as someone else handling everything. You should think of it as shared responsibility. Identity is another idea that becomes much more important in the newer exam direction. Identity is how systems know who or what is trying to gain access. That could be a person, a device, an application, or an automated service. In older security thinking, people often focused heavily on whether something was inside or outside the network. Today, that boundary is not enough. A user inside the network may be risky. A user outside the network may be legitimate. A cloud application may need access to another cloud service. An automated process may perform actions without a human clicking anything at that moment. So the question becomes more personal and more precise. Who are you? What are you using? What are you trying to reach? And should this request be trusted right now? That is why you will hear so much about authentication, authorization, least privilege, and monitoring as you move through the course. Authentication is about proving identity. Authorization is about deciding what that identity is allowed to do. Least privilege means giving only the access that is needed, not extra access just because it is convenient. Monitoring helps notice when access is being used in a strange or risky way. These ideas are not just vocabulary terms. They are the way modern security keeps access from becoming too broad, too trusting, or too invisible. If an attacker steals a password, good identity controls can still make the attack harder. If a real user has too much access, least privilege can reduce the damage. If something unusual happens, monitoring can help reveal it. Automation also shows up more in modern security because there is simply too much happening for people to handle everything by hand. Security systems may produce alerts from laptops, servers, cloud platforms, identity systems, applications, firewalls, and email systems. A person cannot carefully read every signal in real time and respond perfectly to all of it. Automation can help sort information, add context, notify the right team, or take a basic action when a known condition appears. That can be very helpful, but it should not sound like magic. Automation is only as good as the process behind it. If the rule is wrong, the automated action may be wrong. If the data is poor, the conclusion may be poor. You should think of automation as a helper that speeds up good decisions, not as a replacement for understanding. AI fits into this same modern picture, and it is important to keep your expectations realistic. AI can help defenders recognize patterns, summarize large amounts of information, identify suspicious activity, or support alert review. It can also help attackers write more convincing phishing messages, generate malicious content faster, or imitate normal communication more easily. So AI is not only a tool for good people and not only a tool for bad people. It is a capability that changes the speed and style of certain security problems. At your level, you do not need to understand every detail of how AI systems are built. You do need to ask good security questions. What information does the system use? Who can access it? Can its output be trusted? What happens if someone follows a bad recommendation? Operational security is another area where SY0-801 becomes more practical. You are not only learning what security controls are called, you are learning why they matter when real systems are running, changing, breaking, and recovering. A company might install a strong security tool, but that tool still has to be configured, monitored, updated, and used correctly. A software patch might close one weakness, but accidentally create a new problem if it is rushed into production. A backup plan might sound good until someone discovers that the backups were never tested. This is where security becomes very real. It is not enough for something to exist on paper. It has to work when people need it, and it has to keep working as the environment changes. You will also see more emphasis on connecting ideas instead of memorizing them one at a time. That is good news, because connected ideas are easier to remember. Cloud connects to identity because cloud services depend heavily on accounts and permissions. Identity connects to logging because access decisions need evidence. Logging connects to incident response because you need records to understand what happened. Incident response connects to backups because recovery may depend on clean copies of data. Encryption connects to storage because sensitive information may need protection even when it lives outside a company-owned building. Once you start seeing those connections, the exam feels less like a giant list of terms. It starts to feel like a set of patterns you can reason through. This matters for performance-based questions, PBQs, which are designed to test applied thinking. A PBQ may ask you to place controls in the right location, match a control to a risk, interpret a small diagram, or choose the best response to a security situation. That can sound stressful, especially if you are new, but do not let the format scare you. A PBQ is still built from basic ideas. It wants to know whether you can use what you learned instead of only repeating a definition. When you study a topic, keep asking what problem it solves. Ask what can go wrong if that control is missing. Ask where that control fits with other protections. Those questions prepare you for applied exam items much better than memorization alone. You may also be wondering whether Security Plus 701 material is now useless. It is not. A lot of the foundation carries forward because the core of cybersecurity does not change every time an exam version changes. Confidentiality, integrity, availability, access control, encryption, risk, threats, vulnerabilities, monitoring, recovery, and governance still matter. Attackers still take advantage of weak passwords, unpatched systems, exposed data, careless permissions, and human mistakes. What SY0-801 appears to do is place those familiar ideas into a more current environment. You still need to understand the basics, but you also need to understand how those basics apply when systems are cloud-hosted, users are remote, identity is central, automation is common, and AI affects both defense and attack. You do not need to learn every product, platform, or advanced technical detail to succeed with this course. That is an important point, especially if you are brand new and already feel behind. Security Plus is not asking you to become an expert in every tool that exists. It is asking you to understand categories of tools, types of controls, common risks, and good security reasoning. Instead of trying to memorize the name of every possible technology, focus on the purpose. What is this control trying to protect? What threat does it reduce? What evidence would show that it is working? What weakness remains even after it is used? That style of thinking will help you learn faster because you will not be trapped trying to memorize isolated facts with no meaning attached. This course is being built around the draft SY0-801 objectives, and it will be updated when CompTIA finalizes the exam. That is worth saying clearly because draft objectives can change. Some wording may shift, some topics may move, and some emphasis may be adjusted before the final version is official. That does not mean you should wait to learn the foundations. The direction is clear enough to start building real understanding now. The course will focus on the areas that matter most in the draft direction, including cloud, identity, automation, AI, operational security, cryptography, risk, governance, and applied decisions. When the final objectives are released, the course can be tightened to match them. Your understanding will not be wasted, because the core ideas are still the core ideas. The conclusion is that SY0-801 is best understood as Security Plus updated for the security world you are stepping into now. You are still learning the foundation, but that foundation has to work in cloud services, remote access, identity-centered systems, automated operations, and environments shaped by AI. Do not approach this as a giant memorization project. Approach it as a gradual process of understanding what needs protection, what can go wrong, and what controls help reduce the risk. You can learn this even if you are new. Take each concept slowly, connect it to a real purpose, and keep building from one idea to the next. If you can explain the problem a control solves, you are already moving in the right direction.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit BareMetalCyber.com.